The question here is to solve this quadratic equation. We have x squared plus 8x take away 3 equals 0. And the first thing you might think is maybe we should factorize this and then that helps us solve it. Now, if we try to do that, you will then notice that that's not possible. The way we know how to factorize it, it doesn't work here. So there's no way we can get two numbers that multiply to give us negative 3 and add to give us 8. Okay, there's just no way we can do that. So we can't factorize it the same way we did some other examples maybe. So we need to think of a different way. Now, the best way is probably to use the quadratic formula. Okay, but for this example, I'm going to complete the square and show how that can also be used. Okay, but the quadratic formula is the best. So if I complete the square on the left hand side, I will get x plus 4 squared take away 4 squared take away 3 equals 0. Now notice how when I complete the square, I've rewritten this expression by writing x only once. Okay, so I'm doing things to the x. Okay, so when I simplify it, I'll just show what that looks like again. So then I can have x plus 4 squared, and this is take away 16 or negative 16 and negative 3. That will give me negative 19. So negative 19 equals 0. Now look at this expression compared to this one. Here I've got x written more than once, and here I've got x written only once. So if I think of this like a function now, I'm doing x add 4, then I square it, then I take away 19. So I can rearrange this very easily to make x the subject, okay? But it wasn't so easy when I had that. So add 19 to both sides. You're going to get x plus 4 squared equals 19. Square root both sides, but when I square root, I need to take the positive and negative answers. So I will have x plus 4. I'm square rooting, so I don't need this bracket here. So x plus 4 equals plus or minus square root of 19. And then finally I can take away 4 on both sides, so I'm going to get x is equal to plus or minus square root of 19 take away 4. So I'm going to get two answers, and I'm going to leave it in this exact form. Okay, so square root of 19 is an irrational number. Okay, this will give me a long decimal, so I'm not going to work that out now. So x is equal to square root of 19 take away 4, and also x is equal to negative square root of 19 take away 4. So these are my two solutions. So here I've got the same equation again, okay, and this time I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Okay, the quadratic formula, you do need to remember it. So the values for x would be negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, and this is when we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, so when we have a quadratic equation in this form, this formula gives me the values for x, or this formula gives me the roots or solutions to the equation. So here I've got b as 8, my c is negative 3, and my a is 1. Okay, so I'm just going to do that substitution. So I'm going to have x is equal to negative, so everywhere where I'm substituting I'm just going to put a bracket, so negative 8 plus minus square root of 8 squared take away 4 times 1 times negative 3, and all of that divided by 2 times 1. So that's my substitution. If I had a calculator, I can just put it all in my calculator and get a value, but if I'm simplifying it, I can do that. So x is equal to negative 8 plus minus square root of 64. Now here I'm going to be taking away 4 times 1 times negative 3. 4 times 1 times negative 3 is negative 12. Taking away negative 12 is adding 12. So I've got add 12 all over 2. Okay. So then I'm going to have, I'm going to add these parts here. So I'm going to have x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus square root of, this is going to be 64 add 12, which is 76 over 2. And this time, this square root of 76 will simplify because 4 is a factor of 76 and 4 is a square number. So I'm going to rewrite 76 as root 4 root 19. Okay, 4 times 19 is 76. So x equals negative 8 plus or minus square root of 4 times square root of 19, because 4 times 19 is 76, over 2. If I carry on, I have x is equal to negative 8 plus or minus 2 root 19 over 2. Okay, so this time I can simplify my fraction, because 2 goes into 2 goes into 2, 2 goes into 8 or negative 8, and 2 goes into this positive or negative 2 as well. Okay, or I can think of it like I can factorize a 2 out of this and then cancel down. Okay, so I'll do it that way. So this is going to be 2 bracket negative 4 plus or minus root 19 over 2. Okay, and then this 2 and this 2 will cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus square root of 19, which is what I had before when I used the completing the square to solve it. Okay, so when you have the use of a calculator, if you remember the quadratic formula, it's just so easy. You just write all of this out, write it out first, and then type it all into your calculator and press equals. You get your answers, and this is probably the better way to do it when you can't factorize. Okay, but you can complete the square and do it that way as well. Okay, so here is another quadratic equation that I need to solve. Now the first thing is I need to rewrite this in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and so that would mean I need to subtract negative 4 from both sides. So I will have 2x squared take away x take away 4 equals 0. At this stage you can try and factorize it, and this one I can tell you won't factorize. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the quadratic formula. Okay, I'll write that out. So x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And now I'm going to substitute my values. So x is equal to negative, well, b is negative 1 for us, negative 1 plus minus square root of negative 1 squared take away 4 times a is 2 and c is negative 4, all over 2a, so 2 times 2. So simplifying that, we will get x is equal to 1 plus minus square root of 1, and here we're going to get 4 times 2 times negative 4. That's going to give us 8, and 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. Taking away negative 32 is adding 32, so add 32 over 4. Okay, and next, in the next line, I'm going to have 1 plus minus square root of 33 over 4. Now 33 does not have any factors that are square numbers, so I can't simplify that. So my two values this time will be, so I will have x equals 1 plus root 33 divided by 4, or I can have x is equal to 1 take away square root of 33 over 4. Okay, so here are some questions for you to practice. Okay, so solve these equations by completing the square, and then solve them again by using the quadratic formula. You should get the same answers both times. Write your solutions correct to 2 decimal places to all of these. And question number 4 is solve by completing the square ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So you need to write x is equal to an expression in terms of a, b, and c.